The Red Wings got a much-needed win, a 3-0 shutout against the New Jersey Devils. There's plenty of drama in this one as the team entered the game without captain Dylan Larkin, and John Gibson left the game again with an injury. Justin Faulk made his Red Wings debut, Michael Brandsegg-Nygard made his return to Detroit, Axel Sandin-Pellikka was a healthy scratch, and Moritz Seider stepped up for the team with a goal and 2 assists. There's plenty to talk about today. This is your 7-Minute Wings. Welcome back to the Red Wings Report with Strings and Pucks. This is Jeremy Laura. Please click like. If you haven't yet, please click subscribe and share this out. You can head over to hockeyhotstove.com. I'm the Red Wings writer. You'll see news, information about all the teams in the league in this insane final push to the playoffs. So a lot has happened since the Justin Faulk trade. First, I want to thank everyone who stops by here. I get to learn a lot from you in the comments section, and it helps me to understand different points of view. The Faulk trade, at least on this small channel, has fans divided. Some of you, like me, really like this trade, but some of you really don't like this deal, and some of you hate it. And honestly, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts about it. This team isn't a lock to make the playoffs at this point, and Faulk's going to have a big hand in where Detroit ends up in the standings. After all the excitement of that trade, something pretty unpleasant happened, and that was the announcement that Dylan Larkin is injured. So right after the high, for me, of the trade comes what could be a disaster. Then Michael Brandsegg-Nygard gets called back up. We've been talking about MBN for weeks as he's been on fire in Grand Rapids. I had the hope that he'd get an opportunity. It pans out, but in the worst possible scenario. So instead of doing a reaction video, I decided to wait and see how this game played out. And I'm glad I did. You remember, MBN only needed to play one more game to burn that first year on his entry-level deal. I absolutely think he earned this opportunity, but without an injury, which they got, it didn't seem like he was going to get this shot. Well, after the game, from what we can tell, Faulk hadn't skated in a few days before meeting up with the team to play in New Jersey. He ends up playing 19:28, registering 3 shots, 3 blocks, and 4 hits. In the post-game, Seider was clearly impacted by his presence. He noted the battles and the physicality that Faulk brought, and even the coach had to tip his hat. Faulk seemed unfazed. He just jumped into the mix and made his presence known. The team is excited to have him, and he's excited to be here. But there was an odd twist to this arrival. Axel Sandin-Pellikka was the odd man out in this one. And again, I thought about doing a reaction video, but I wanted to do a wait and see. So I'm going to be a little bit tempered in my reaction on this one. Coach McClellan is all about teachable moments. And this could be a case where the coach wants ASP to watch how Faulk carries himself. If Sandin-Pellikka is scratched again, we're going to have to talk about it. That to me would indicate something a bit more serious. But again, I don't want to overreact on this one. I'm willing to wait until we see what happens next or we hear something from the coach on this. Then let's dial up the drama a little bit more because John Gibson leaves the game and doesn't return, similar to Nashville, but this time after 2 periods. Talbot maintains the shutout with 10 saves in the third, and the team grabs a huge 2 points, moving them back into the 3rd spot in the Atlantic. Buffalo, meanwhile, grabs the top spot with a win over Tampa. With less than 20 games left, 2 teams with lengthy playoff droughts. Buffalo's trying to avoid 15 straight years missing the postseason, and Detroit's trying to avoid 10, and they're both still very much in the hunt. Toronto and Florida have fallen off hard, but Ottawa is still in the chase, just 5 points outside of the final wildcard spot. This is going to be intense all the way to the finish. So, just when it feels like the drama couldn't get up anymore, you add a little bit more because Dominic Shine, at 32 years old, scores his first NHL goal for his hometown team. You could see the emotion on his face and on the bench after JVR threaded an insane pass through a defender's legs across the front of the net, and Shine just skated in and sent it home. It was an unbelievable play, and the bench was unhinged. Shine could barely keep his emotions together in the postgame. He was incredibly candid about nearly having hung up the skates, thinking his dream was over. Undrafted, career AHLer who gets his shot and makes it count. But the game's number one star was Moritz Seider. Seider must have been practicing that fadeaway wrister at the blue line because he made that identical shot twice. The second one going in off a tip from JVR. I've said this a few times, but you can see a scenario where one day Seider will be wearing the C for this team. He had a hand in all 3 goals, and his 8th of the year was the game winner. Seider now has 44 points in 64 games and is a plus 18. He's just 6 points shy of his career high 50 points. He's just 1 goal shy of his career high of 9, and the plus 18 rating is his best by far. Seider's averaging over 25 minutes a night, but is still yet to miss a game as he approaches 400 career games played. He's played 392. He had 5 shots, 3 points, 1 block, and 1 hit with 25:02 in ice time. Patrick Kane added 2 assists, JVR with a goal and an assist. The team came together with Larkin sidelines, and they didn't flinch when they lost Gibson in net. But with the standings so tight, they need to turn around and do it all over again against a team that just beat them as they face Florida for the second time in under a week. The Panthers only have 3 wins in their last 10 games, and Detroit was one of them. It feels like the Wings have to find a way to grab 2 points in this one, because after this, Detroit will face Tampa Bay and Dallas. The Red Wings are 4-4-2 in their last 10. They need to play 500 hockey, and that's what they're doing at this point. This was your 7-Minute Wings.